Hey, welcome back, and I want to do a series of teachings, whatever you want to call them, on problematic passages. These are, you're reading through the Bible, everything's going well, and then you run into a passage and you're like, what in the world could that possibly mean? Well, I'll tell you one that I've gotten messaged about, asked about a lot, and that is 2 Samuel 24. I'm going to read you the passage. It says, "Again, the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, 'Go, take a census of Israel and Judah.'" That only doesn't seem that problematic, but let me give you a passage from 1 Chronicles 21 that adds a little spice to the stew. So it says this: "Satan rose up against Israel and incited David to take a census of the people." So, two problems that we have to deal with. And first is, why is counting people wrong? The second is, who influenced David to do it? So let me answer the first one in why counting was wrong. And let me read you this passage from Exodus 30. "The Lord said to Moses, 'When you take a census of the Israelites to count them, each one must pay the Lord a ransom for his life at the time he is counted. Then no plague will come on them when you count them. Each one who crossed over to those already counted is to give a half shekel according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs. The half shekel is an offering to the Lord.'" Once again, the point, there's nothing wrong with taking a census if God commands it. This is that's why the passage tells Israel how to do it, and that every male age 20 or older had to pay this kind of per capita tax of 1/2 shekel to support the work of the tabernacle. Failure to do so would cause a plague on the land. Why? Because it was a reminder that the people belonged to God, not to the king. And so, what's the problem? And that's kind of what gets to where we are now in 2 Samuel 24, is that there's lots of speculation as to why God is angry in this passage, but something in verse 10 kind of gives us a hint. It says this: "But David's heart struck him after he had numbered the people, and David said to the Lord, 'I have sinned greatly in what I have done, but Lord, now, O Lord, take away the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly.'" So it's up to God to take a census. If David had counted, he should only have done it at God's command. So receiving then a ransom to atone for the counting. So why is David grieved by what he's done? Because he realizes that these aren't his people. They're God's people. It was peacetime. God had given them rest. There's no reason to number the people and burden them with the half shekel tax. It's poor leadership. And so the consequence, if you read the entire passage, is three possibilities that God offers to David. And the one that ends up happening is what God said would happen in Exodus chapter 30. But what the second question, and this is what I want to just focus on for the last moments of our time, and that is, who influenced David to do it? Now, the Bible is 100% inspired and 100% true. However, translations are imperfect. Translations are translators doing their best to translate ancient languages into modern dialects. And sometimes there is no word in a language to accurately translate something. Like baptism. Baptism isn't an English word. Baptism is a transliteration of a Greek word, baptizo, which is made to fit into the English language. Now, let's kind of understand what we're talking about. In 2 Samuel 24, it says, "Again, the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, 'Go, number the people.'" Once again, the word "he" is capitalized, but there's no capitals in Hebrew. In the Hebrew language, which means the translators are doing a little bit of interpreting, and that is that they are translating that it is God who moved David to act. And so, let me give this to you in another translation in the New American Standard, which says, "Now again the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and it incited David against them to say, 'Go, number the people.'" The NISB translators are saying that it is the anger of the Lord that causes David to act. Now, the difference in translation is because there's no subject for the verb incited. And I know I'm making you go back to your English class and from high school, but the fact that we aren't told who exactly moved David to take the census. We're not. That's what caused a little bit of the problem. It could have been David's own pride that led him to act, and there's evidence for that. Could be some unnamed counselor that told David to do that. In addition to the 2 Samuel passage, 1 Chronicles 21 gives us a little more color. Satan is seeking to tempt David towards the end of his life. And so, and listen, sometimes we don't realize this, but Satan is a tool in God's hand at times. There are moments when God uses Satan to serve the Lord's own divine purposes. We see this in Joseph's life, right? What the enemy intended for evil, God intended for good. In Job's life, the same thing. And Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And so both statements are true, that Satan did tempt David to number the people, but God seems to have allowed it. Satan wanted to use it to destroy David. God wanted to use it to humble David. So, hope that helps. Until the next time, keep reading.